Okay, so we created a function handle cancel alert, because the alert will have like one kind of X in one corner that if you click it you immediately cancel the alert, right? Okay, so what will be there is just you set alert, return the message to an empty string and the type to be null. That's okay. Then now, yeah, the use effects. There's this stuff in JavaScript, set timeout, where you can delay the activation of a function. So you have in set timeout, it takes a, what do they call it, a callback function and a number. The number is milliseconds. The number is in milliseconds. So what happens is, after that number of milliseconds, it will run that function. So if you look in the set timeout, you see an arrow function. Inside the arrow function is clear alert. That clear alert, copy what is on line 11 and replace what is on line 16.
Line 16.
Yeah, so just copy line 11 and replace line 16. Okay, so that means after 5,000 milliseconds, set alert to empty message, empty, type null. Good. So what this means is that the alert will show up. Whenever the alert shows up, after 5 seconds, it will go away. It will clear itself.
Because why is this type set to null?
I don't want to put error or success. I want to put something that is none of the above. So I just
use null.
Use null. So now for this use effect, what do we set it? Yes, use effects in React. There are 3 ways to use it. Use effects is something that runs after any render or re-render. You see, these components, when the page is loaded, the component will render. So you see something on the screen, right? It will replace any variables inside this return. Like you see this line 21 now, there's something background in there in the class name.
Yes.
All those kinds of variables or stuff, it will resolve all of them to actual values and display something on the screen. That's the first render. I'll call that rendering. Then if the props entering the component changes or state changes, the component will re-render. Whatever affected parts will render. For example, this background now, you remember that background is dependent on the type of the message, of the alert.
If it's error or
if it's error or success. So that means if the alert type changes to maybe success or error, this background is expected to change, right? So there'll be like a re-render. Okay. Yeah.
When the type now becomes small, what happens?
Okay, let's create something for that. After line 18, put an if statement. Yeah, give it one more gap. Okay, if alert.type is equal to null, return okay, put angle brackets, like you want to write an element. No. Angle bracket, like you want to write an element. Like less than, that less than sign. No, this one is greater than. So
If
close
loss
it.
is somebody.
If what?
If what?
If loss is somebody.
Lost.
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 I am that person.
You're lost. Okay. Say she's lost.
Okay, let's write this first. Let's finish writing this first. Then we'll start looking for. We'll carry touch and look for somebody. Yeah, close it.
Close what?
The angle bracket.
Like this?
Yes, like that. So, what this means is that if alert type is null, return nothing. This is like nothing.
Nothing. It doesn't have any tag.
This is like HTML, but it's like an empty HTML. Like there's no element in here, so just let there be nothing.
So there will be no background.
And there will be nothing at all. Like no HTML inside it at all. So it's if
How does
type.
this affect this background?
It won't really affect background. It's just, you know how functions work. When you see return in a function, everything below that is pointless. It will not. So that's what's going on here. If type, the alert type is null, what will be returned is this line 21, and then line 24 and the rest will be ignored. So we will not even bother about background. You will not see the alert at all. So it's if alert type is not null, then you now see the alert, and then it will now check whether type is this or that and know what background to put.
So in this place that we are setting the this thing, the set timeout, and we are putting type of null, and here too that we are putting type of null. This will not run.
Yeah. This will not run. It will change this.
return.
I'm coming. Let me type something in here. Cassie, please, as I'm writing this thing, where did you lose and go so that we can know how we'll be finding you?
I think. Oh my god.
You're not sure where you went to?
I'm just moping at the alert. It's not making sense
It's
to
not
me.
making sense to you.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's very, very interesting.
This alert self, how does it affect what is in the contact section?
It's when you submit now, if it's successful, if it will show successful.
Okay, first of all, don't go to this one yet. Yeah, Cassie, what was your question about the alert?
I didn't start with you guys.
Okay.
Like yesterday, so I know about props. I'm looking at line 6, but it's like use state, but I don't understand again.
Okay, adversar.app. Okay, so click on the second link. Let's see a demonstration of the alerts first of all.
Okay.
So as usual, go to bound offer. Pick any 2 or 3 things. Okay, so if you try to check out now, you see the alert should show up.
You have to log in to make purchases. Okay.
Okay. So Cassie,
I didn't say I didn't. I don't know where it happens or when it happens.
I'm the one that said I did not understand the need for it.
The need for
Like I did not understand how it came into play with the contact section. But
okay.
now I see
Okay, so go first of all, go to the first link.
the first thing.
Let's go and look at that alert in there. That one is a final alert, sure. But let's look at how, because this one we're creating is kind of a mix between these two alerts. So SRC and components alert. Yes. Okay. Keep scrolling down. Keep scrolling down. So 77. If alert does not exist, return nothing. But if it does, okay. Well, we are going to have to create more states in that. Don't worry, it will all make sense when when we are done. Okay, so it will all make sense. I promise it will make sense. So let's go back to the code. Cassie, yeah, you've not done anything with use effect before?
No.
No, you have not. Okay, let's do we add something inside alert? Okay, this is how use effect works. I talked about render, right? When the page loads, the component will render. It will display something on the screen. Now, the two things that can make it render are props or states. It's possible to change the props that are entering a component. Now, especially if the component, is a child, is a child to another component. So you can, maybe for some reason, maybe with the click of a button or something, change the props that are entering the child component. And once those props changes, the child component will see a reason to re-render. Something will change inside, so it will re-render. Same thing with states. I think we've done some things with state now. Remember the error stuff we did last time, right? We're changing states. We're changing the error value states. So at any point where you change, let me say the name input, the error.name, what do we call it? Form error values dot name. Whenever it changes to a truthy value, you see the red border immediately around the input, right? That's a re-render.
Yes.
So states changed, and the component has to re-render. So those kind of situations, use alerts can be used there. If you write this use effects the way we wrote it, like line 14 to line 18, where the only thing inside the use effect is a callback function. If you notice, that's all that is inside the use effects. There's just an arrow function. That's all that is inside. So if you write it with only a callback function, then that function is going to run every time something changes in that component. Prop change, state change, it doesn't matter. The thing will run again. So another way to write it is to, in line 18, after the curly brace, put a comma and put an empty array. Okay, so now there's something called a dependency array. Remember I said for use effect the way it was before you put this empty array, it will run no matter what changes on this component. This function, this use effect is going to run. The function inside the use effect will run. But it might be troublesome in some cases because you have a lot of props, you have a lot of states. So once any small thing changes, the use effect will run. You don't want that. You want it to run only in some certain situations. When a certain prop or certain props or state changes, that's when you want the function to run, right? So that's where a dependency array comes into play. The dependency array contains the props or states that you want the running of this use effect to be dependent on. So it's only when those particular props or states change that the use effect will run. That's why it's called a dependency array. So the first way to use effect, no dependency array. It will run every time, no matter what changes in that component, that use effect will run. The second way is with an empty dependency array like this. That way it will only run at the first time the component is loaded, like the first render. So any subsequent render, any small thing change somewhere, you no concern, it will not run because there's nothing in the dependency array. It doesn't depend on anything, so it will not run. It will only run at the beginning, just that once, and that's it. Then the third way is to actually have some things in the dependency array. That way it will run at the beginning of the component, like when the page loads for the first time, and then when any of those things in the dependency array changes, you can have multiple things in there, it's an array. When any of those things in there changes, the use effect will run again. So in this situation, this use effect, the function of it is to cancel the alerts automatically after 5 seconds. So you noticed in that website now, you opened it, you do not click cancel by yourself. After you opened it, maybe 3 to 5 seconds, it went away by itself. That's
the alert.
Yes, in that depth management site that you opened. You remember that you do not cancel it by yourself. If you wait for a while, it will go away by itself. Wow. You got to go again. Is it your screen that's frozen? Okay. Okay, but it went away, Abby.
Yes, it did.
So that's the function of this use effect. Whenever the component loads up, after 5 seconds, it should go away again. Okay. So alert type.
Sorry, let me quickly add something.
Yes.
In this debit management side that we just did now,
yes,
the message here when we click on checkout for the alert is you have to log in to make purchase, right? This is the message.
Yes.
So in this our own code here we are saying when after message to nothing, the type should be null.
Sorry, your network shifted small. I did not hear the rest of it.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay. What I was asking is, since that's the message, in this our own code here for use effect, we are saying after 5 seconds.
Yes.
We replace that message with nothing.
Yes.
And the type will be null.
Yes.
If the type is null, nothing will be there.
Nothing will be there. Okay. So now this dependency array, I think we should set it to alert.type.
Dependency array.
Yes, on line 18. So alert.type. So if alert.type changes, then after 5 seconds, okay, I think we need to put a conditional statement there. If alert.type changes, then the function no, I'm just trying to explain it as it is right now. Whatever makes alert.type to change, this function, this use effect will run. But alert.type can change in two ways. It can become null, or it can become a string, like error or success. So I think inside the use effect, we need to put a conditional that says if alert.type is not null, then that is when this set timeout should run. So that if this thing changes to, so that by the time you reset, by the time the set timeout stuff will run and change it to null, the thing will not run again.
Okay.
So before the set timeout, you put if alert.type is not null, it's not equal to null. No. It's after 5,000, after line 18. Push it down to the next line, the ending curly brace. So it's press tab to indent it one time. Okay, then mark the set timeouts 16, 17, 18 and press tab. Okay, it's always good to do proper indentation. Alright. So now once alert.type changes, if it is not null, the set timeout will run after 5 seconds and set it to null. And you can see on line 22, if alert.type is null, the function is returning empty.
Nothing.
Nothing. So we need to do some things to this line 27. The line 27 is the alert.
This is what the alert will look like, right?
Yeah, this is what the alert will look like. But there's an issue here. This thing is not.
Okay.
It's not positioned absolutely fixed. How do I put it? Go back to that GitHub. Let me see what I did there.
Okay.
Oh. No, I think that was the right place. That GitHub. Lend SQR.
Okay. Shall I go back?
I think here is okay. Here is okay. So classes.main alert wrap 79. Okay, yeah, go back one time. So that we'll look at the SCSS for this. Yeah, alert.module.scss. Alert.module.scss. The first one, yeah. Okay, main alert wrap. We had a width of this. We had position that. Right, that's where I put position on this. Okay.
So you can write the CSS separate.
Yes, you can write CSS in React.
In a separate file.
Yeah.
But in our own case, we use Tailwind inside the code.
Yeah, because that's how Tailwind is used. It's like Bootstrap kind of thing. Okay, so let's go back to the code. We will have to wrap this line 27 to 32 inside another div.
27 to 32.
Yes. So the sweet way to do this.
Okay.
Yeah. Mark 27 to 32. Okay, so if it were Windows, I would press Control Shift P.
Control
Shift P.
Yeah.
Nothing is happening.
Use command.
Aha, okay, that's it. So type Emmet. Emmet.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. It's not easily found. Okay. Scroll down.
After typing the Emmet.
There's a particular one I'm looking for. Something about wrap. Yes,
Wrap
Emmet.
with
Wrap with abbreviation. That's the one.
Okay.
Then type div and press enter. So you see it did it just nicely for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so the div, you can give it a class name. So we want it to be 90% width in mobiles, right? So width 90%, W 90%, the 90% will be in square brackets. Okay, but from medium screens and above, we want it to be 500 px. So MDW, you're missing the W. MD colon W dash 500 px in square brackets.
Oh, that's how they do it from. Okay, the width.
Yeah. The 500 px should be in square brackets. Okay, so let me see this line 28. I'm seeing MD with 400 px. Can you just remove the 400 px? No, like the whole MD with something. Yeah, just that.
Okay, everything.
Yeah, everything. Okay, so back to the top one. Width 90%, then 500 px, then fixed, position fixed. So you just write fixed. Okay. Top. How low from the top do we want it to be?
Like 20 pixel.
20 is small. Let me say 80. Top 80 px.
Okay.
Cassie, so I'm not hearing you. At least this one, you don't get issue with this one now.
That's why I was asking if she's still
I'm not hearing your voice. Oh. Top 80, top 80 px. Left 50%.
Okay.
So
Hello.
yes, hello.
Hello.
Left 50%. So
I didn't position it now.
okay, no wahala. So one of the ways to center an object, center an element inside another element is with, positioning, like absolute or fixed positioning. So what you do is either, let me say you're doing horizontal positioning, which is what we want to do. We want to put it in the middle, horizontal center of the page. So either left or right, you pick one. You say 50%. Like this left 50% that we did now. What it means is that the alert box is going to start 50% from the left edge of the page. So that means it's going to start from the middle. But you can tell that means it will not be in the middle, since it's starting, like the left edge of it is starting from the middle.
Okay.
So now we'll now use transform translate to move it backwards by half of its width. So by the time you do that, it will now be exactly in the middle. Yeah. So after the left 50%, you now say translate minus translate x, because it's an x translation, x-axis translation. Translate x 50%.
Agree.
When you say translate X, positive values move it to the right, negative values move it to the left. So in this case, we said left 50. We've already moved it very, very much to the right. So we're trying to
Yes.
translate it back, that's leftwards, 50%. So the two ways to do that are either you say translate X minus 50%, or you say minus translate X 50%. So pick your poison.
Okay.
Okay, so I think with this we are done with positioning, right? Yes, we are done with positioning.
What's the text inside here now?
Yes.
It's just button.
So we have the div, the first div, we have this other one, and then on line 29 we have a p tag, alert. You can just write text white in the class name on line 29 so that we're sure it to be white. So I think, okay, I might not have mentioned to write variables inside elements. This is how you do it: curly braces and then the variable. Okay, so line 30 has the button, the cancel button. Okay, so now let's go back to the contact section.
So what's the message going to be here? Is it alert only?
Sorry, alert.message. Yeah, that's true. It's alert.message. Yeah, back to contact section. So now, scroll down a little bit. Okay, yeah, maybe. So we're going to. Oh, I forgot. You have to import alert first. Go up and import alert from wherever it comes from.
We can use it here.
Yeah, so you can use it here. Remember, it's capital A. Okay. So now, create another state. Alert, set alert. Okay, so the initial value is going to be an object with message empty string type null. Okay. Yeah. So back down at any point inside this stuff that you are returning at the bottom, you can just put alert somewhere. Since it's fixed positioning, so it will not disrupt any of the things you've done. It will not matter.
You said put what?
The component alert. So anywhere you pick inside the whole stuff. Okay, like line 104. Line 104, you can put it there.
Line 104.
Yeah. So open angle bracket less than alert. No, it's capital A now. Function components, in fact, all components, they always start with capital letters. So alert. So give a space and then alert props.
Alert.
Props. As you start writing, you should see it come out as an option. Is equal to the bracket, the curly brace. Then on another curly brace.
Inside.
Yes. Because we are passing in two things. We are passing alert and set alert. So alert, comma, set alert. Okay. So at the end of the line, give a space and close the element. Yes. So alert has been put inside the element. So now
Sorry.
okay, you
Before
want to
move
put
forward, please, let's ask a question before you move
yes.
forward. So, putting these alerts like this, right,
Yes.
is the same thing as bringing in what was here, since we have imported it inside this component
Yes.
contact section,
Yes.
and putting it here. So, if this page renders now, if this page runs now, you have it there. If with the initial of message empty
And type
empty
now.
and type now, right?
Yes.
Okay. So these alert props that we set here,
Mm.
very
Yeah.
okay.
Yes, because
this
you
is-
named
this
it
is what
alert props and props.
So the props here is the first. Is the
Okay.
the
Oh yeah. Okay.
props here?
Let's look at something. In that contact section, hover on alert props.
So
Yeah. So it's showing everything as it should be. You know, inside alert props, there's alert and set alert, right? So this is one way to write it. Where you say on the other, where the component is, you say props dot something, and then where you are calling the component, you say that something is equal to whatever. So the other way is no destructuring, right? So go back to alert. No, the component alert.
okay.
Okay, comment out line 6 since no destructuring. Okay, so now on line 5, the props. Remove it, put this in curly braces, write alert and set alert in it. Okay, then back in contact section, yeah, remove alert props is equal to alert set alert. In fact, just cut it so you can easily paste it back later. So you say alert is equal to alert, set alert is equal to set alert. No. And alert is just the name of the component. You have to write those things one by one.
Right.
Yes, alert.
Alert.
Yeah.
And then set alert.
Yeah. So you see how it's even showing you in the options. Set alert is equal to set alert. So I don't like this because it's troublesome. There are sometimes I have up to 8 props I'm passing in. I don't want to be writing 8 things. I always like to write one thing. So that's why I like to use the other method.
Maybe we can just put it inside
Put everything into one object and
the alert
just
props.
pass it like that.
So if you had like 8 things now, just keep doing
Now, so you
comma.
keep the right to, you just the right to go.
Yeah,
So yeah,
just to start doing
and
comma this,
no,
comma that.
no. Actually, it's not. You won't really do this comma that. The reason why we're doing comma this, one comma the other one is because you remember that thing I told you yesterday about objects in JavaScript. If the name of the object and the value you are passing in are the same,
System.
you can skip writing them as a pair. Normally, you would have had to write alert colon alert comma set alert colon set alert, but
Yes.
they are the same thing. Like alert is the same as alert. So because of ES6 notation, you can just put comma and go. So go back to alert and change back things. I think just Control Z itself will do. Okay. So now we've successfully put in alert. The problem is we are not changing the values of alerts on submission of the form. So that's what we need to do now. So contact section, go to the submit function. So before we carry on, let's just brush through things. Let's go to the validation stuff for Cassie's benefits. Cassie, have you used try and catch before?
Cassie. Cassie.
No.
But have you heard of try
Are
and
you Igbo?
Am I Igbo?
Mm,
No.
that's strange.
Yeah, usually it's Igbo people that be afraid.
No. She pronounced my name as an Igbo girl.
Wahala.
Wow.
Okay, but have you heard of try and catch?
No. Yeah, I've heard of it.
Okay, so try and catch is for error handling. Usually in JavaScript, if you are writing the codes yourself, writing functions, errors wouldn't really happen unless you yourself make errors in your code. That's when errors will happen. But when you are dealing with things that concern external factors, like inputs for users to write stuff, or you are dealing with making requests to a server, yeah, things are now out of your control. A user can write whatever the hell they want in your inputs. They don't care who you are. Error can happen from there. Requests can fail for any reason, whether it's network or the server is not active. So we need a way to catch errors and display the errors, or rather do something with the errors if necessary. And that's where try and catch comes in. So in a try and catch block, you write try and put some stuff in there, and then you put a catch block where you pass a parameter error. So scroll down a bit so you see the try. You can see the try block on line 29. So just click on try so that line will be highlighted. So the line is highlighted. You can follow it down, and then at the end you put catch, passing error. So the error is whatever error happened in the try block that made the try block not to run completely. So if the things in the try block runs completely fine, no wahala, everything moves on. But if something in there causes an error, the thing is going to stop and come to this catch block, where it will now access that error and you can do something with it. So usually what people do is that in the try block, they will write a bunch of situations, if statements that will catch certain situations. If something is like this, throw new error. You can see on line 38 and 36 there is throw new error. So throw new error is like it's like creating a custom error. JavaScript has its own errors. For example, range error, type error, syntax error, different things can trigger those. But for things like user inputs, server requests, response, those kind of things, you might want to create your own errors, custom errors, that will say specific things that will make sense to you and your users. So that's what throw new error is for, creating custom errors. So we did a bunch of if statements in the try block, first of all, if there is a value, then it can now start checking. So if there's a value, if type is email, this is a long regex that checks for validity of an email. It doesn't necessarily check that the email exists, so just that at least the way the email is written is valid. So if this email written is not valid, see there's a not in front of it. If it's not valid, throw new error, invalid email address. If it is name and the name doesn't fit with that regex there, throw new error, invalid name. If it's message doesn't fit, throw new error, invalid message. But if all, I'm coming. Hello? Yes, good afternoon. Okay.
Yes, but it's only me.
I got a call. I'm coming. Just give me like 5 minutes, I beg.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back. Can you hear me? Hello, can you all
Yeah.
hear me? Okay. Okay, so I think back to the
Hello.
code. So you can see set form error. We created a state called form error values that will hold error values for the 3 inputs. So what this line 42 to 44 is saying is that if none of these things here triggered an error, it passed through from line 30, got to 40, no throw new error, it did not trigger any of those, then set that value in the error state, set it to empty string. That means that particular input doesn't have an error. Okay, so you go down to the catch block. In the catch block is where we deal with errors, a situation where an error occurs. Can you scroll down to the catch block? So in the catch block, if there's an error, that for that input, you set the value in the error state to error.message. Errors in JavaScript are objects, and they always have a message property. The message property is what holds the actual error message, where you say this is exactly what went wrong. Okay, so that's that, and then we now move down to the submit function. Okay, down a bit to the submit function. In the submit function, as usual, first thing is prevent default. Then we created a function. All fields are error free. What this function does is that it checks if how do I put it? It checks if in that error state, because the error state is an object that has name, email, message. It checks if 3 of them are empty strings. So that's why the name of the function is the way it is. All fields are error free. If all fields are error free, that state should be empty strings throughout. So if all fields are error free, then you can now go ahead to try to submit the form. So try set is submitting is to true. I think you were here at the beginning yesterday when she sent the form as a test. You notice when she clicks the form, you will see form is submitting. So that form is submitting and submit form, the 2 different things, they are based on this is submitting state. So if is submitting is true, you would see form is submitting. If it is false, you see submit form. Okay, so we normally set that at the beginning of the request, and then you now make the requests, blah blah blah. At this point, after line 79, the result or the response from the server should have come back. So we set is submitting back to false. And then if response.status is 200, it means the response was a success, because 200 is success status. We can carry on to do whatever we want to do um, there's now a valid response body, so we can try to read that readable string that will come there. JSON.parseIt and resets the form values back to empty strings. So now it's at this point that we want to pass in a success message. So after this, like line 83, we've gotten the response from the server, so we should be thinking of setting the alert state. So set message to something, set type to success. So what do we set there? So I think you can do something there on line, after line 83. Set alert. Okay, so what do you want to write?
Write message.
Mail sent successfully.
Mail sent successfully.
Okay, so it's an object, so you have to put an object where message has the value of mail sent successfully and type is success. Welcome. Yeah, but success with a small s, because error 2 was a small e. Okay, so if it's successful, the user is going to see an alert saying message sent successfully. The form will also be reset back to initial values. Okay, so else we throw a new error with whatever the status text is. So now in the catch block, we can also set an alert. The value of message will be error.message, because remember the message, the actual stuff of the error is in error.message. Yes, error.message. And type is error.
And
type is error.
Like this?
No, it's a string.
Like this?
Yeah. So, if you look, that's closing curly brace on 95.
That's 5.
It's closing an, yeah, if you scroll up, you'll see it's closing an if statement. Yeah, keep scrolling to where the line, where it started from. Okay, you see it's an if statement. We said if all fields are error free is actually true, then all of these should run. So let's add an else to that, so that if somebody tries to click the button when the fields are not error free, something should happen. So else we set a new alert, a new error alert. What message should be there? Please enter correct details, or correct details. Let's just leave it at correct details for now.
Enter, or just put correct details.
Or should we say please resolve all input fields first?
Resolve. That one resolve.
1s.
All input fields.
Yes.
like this.
Yeah, so type is also error. Small EO. Okay,
That
yeah, like that. So let's go give it a test.
okay. Let me just look at it. This our if statement is checked. So if the error free, sets is into true, then go fetches the does the post something and then we submit it. Successful set calls check successful for this give an alert that says message sent successful and then the text said else we throw an error. But if it happens and then we catch the error here, then we display the this error that message will be displayed to
Look
the alert.
look at 91. You are passing in error, a parameter error. Error is
Yes.
whatever error happened with the try block that made it stop and go to the catch block. So that's the error you're talking of in line 92. That's error dot message.
Then else send the message to
Okay, so one more issue. I remember I talked about that last two classes.
this was between this error here and this one here.
What's the difference between?
The one inside this catch. What's the difference between this one and the one in this else? The one that is causing this else to run.
The one that's causing the else is the function. All fields are error free. If it returns false. Remember the function returns true or false if all the fields are
Yeah.
error free or not.
Yes.
So if the fields are not error free, it will not even bother sending the request. It will just immediately go to this else and throw an error for you that you have issues to resolve. Resolve them first.
Alright.
So yeah, one more thing before we continue. Sure, when you click the submit button, you've set it now that if everything is alright, it should say form is submitting, right? And that should tell a sane person that something is happening. They should not bother clicking this button again. But
Yes.
some people are not usually sane. So the fact that they can still click that button, somebody might still want to click it again. We don't want that.
Yeah.
Because it will try to send the request again. So let's add an extra security measure that when form is submitting, that button should be disabled. If it's disabled, they cannot click it at all. So even if their head untouched, we're still secured. So go down to the button. We'll just use that is submitting state. No need to create another state. So go down to where the button is and add a disabled attribute. So disabled true means the button is disabled. So let's look at it. When form is submitting, when is submitting is true, we want the button to be disabled. So we can just use the state like that. So the value for disabled can be is submitting. So if is submitting is false, and if the button is not disabled, which is what we want.
So how do you configure that here?
And you just give it a value. Disabled is equal to curly brace. You put is submitting inside.
Okay, so that's when it will now be disabled.
Yeah, so
When
if is submitting is true, disabled is true,
To
and
be
the button will be
disabled.
disabled. So
But
just to test
it's
it out,
false.
you can add a bit of styling in here. In the class names, add disabled colon. You can style
Like this.
yeah, disabled colon. Is it not allowed? Right, not allowed. Let me see. Oh, no, sorry. Cursor not allowed. Cursor dash not dash allowed.
Is it like this?
Maybe not dash allowed.
Okay, not that shallow.
And then hover on it. Let me see whether it will show something. It didn't show anything. Hover on rounded LG or something else. Nothing. Okay, I think you need to browse this so that we'll be sure. Oh, wait. There's one extension, Tailwind IntelliSense. Do you have that?
Tailwind.
IntelliSense.
No, let me look.
No, because normally if you have that, if you hover on any of the Tailwind classes where they are supposed to be, you should see something. Yeah, that's the first one. Tailwind CSS IntelliSense.
Okay.
Okay, so go back to contact section. Hover on any class and let's see. Yes, that's it. Not allowed. So the not allowed cursor is a red circle with a line across it.
Red circle.
You've probably seen it. Maybe you can't imagine, but once you see it, you know you've seen that thing before.
Okay.
So let's go back to the browser.
Let me
Okay.
start it up. npm
Run dev.
yeah
Run dev.
run them
Yeah.
together.
Oh, yes, together. Yeah, it's true. It has to be together. Go back. Cancel. Together. Because of the tailwind. So Control C to close it. And then run together.
Okay.
Control C. Or Command C, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
So npm run together.
Go back there.
Low battery. Please charge.
Plug it now.
For now, don't open it.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, let's behave like regular users.
Yeah, just users.
So make a mistake on email. You can just leave it like that. Go to message. Okay, so try
Oh,
submit.
excuse me.
Yes.
Excuse me. There's this sound I'm hearing from your own end. What's happening? Are you watching the TV?
Yes. Which one is out? Okay, so try submitting.
Please resolve all input fields.
And it went away. Click it again, let me see. Okay, it came back. Okay.
It's where it is, okay.
Yeah, it's okay. 80px from the top. That's not bad. Somebody should be able to see that. Okay, so resolve the error.
Result.
Yeah, you see the no, not allowed. I don't know why it's white. I thought it used to be red.
Supposed to be red.
I know it's to be red. I don't know why it's why. Maybe it's because it's marked. Yeah, it's taking time.
Yeah.
The voice is
My network is fine.
correct one.
Huh?
Do we need to add the timeout
Very long.
to that function?
Time
The
out.
voice is
Okay, sent
Yes,
successfully.
hold
So you can see
What
that
about
the
not
green is not, it's too bright. So later on you can work on that and make the green a darker green. So at this point I think we are done with this. So Cassie, yes, so either of you, any question?
There were like three errors.
3 errors.
How do I get this third one? What is that error again, sir? This one. This one.
Okay. You know this is a try and catch block.
Yes.
So what we are trying is from like line 71.
Okay.
Hmm?
This error can happen if the network is failing. If this response status is not true. Like it's not successful.
Okay, yeah, that's the only what do they call it? The only custom error we created. If the response dot status is not 200, it's going to throw a new error, status text. So yes, let's try that out. Let's try and see a situation where that happens. Check your console. Open your console. Normally there's this stuff. Sources, Abi. Check sources. No, not sources. There's one arrow after sources. Yes. Network. Go to network.
Okay.
Normally there's a way to set some things here. That's all. Let me see what's there.
All.
At the top. Next to filter full URL.
Okay.
Okay, no, not that. Check the icon after the all. Also not that. Okay. That's gear icon to the top, like where network console elements are. There's a gear icon at the very right. Also not this. In Chrome, there's one setting like that where you can, or you know what? Try something.
Okay.
When you fill the form again, as you're about to click submit, just tweak your network, off it small.
Okay.
Problem is that it will also off it for us, so
Also do.
it will off it for us.
Okay.
So we might not see what happens. In Chrome, there is a setting where you can try to simulate network error.
Network.
You can turn off the network.
But if you're
error.
under the network,
Normally, it used to be under network in Chrome, so I don't really know where you would find it here. Wait, let me see the options. After network, that's arrow.
yes.
Timeline, storage, graphics, layers, audits.
Audit.
Okay, let's be checking them one by one and see if we'll see something like that. Nah, this doesn't look like it.
Cannot be perfect.
Also not. Storage wouldn't be it. Timelines.
Timeline.
This is possible. This is possible. There are two stopwatch icons or something like that.
Stopwatch.
Something like that.
Okay, here.
Check them. Are they doing anything?
Okay.
Entire recording. I don't know what this one is. I don't think we can find the setting. Anyhow, maybe you just have to off your network small during the requests. Okay, before you click it, try and cause an error in the email. Maybe take it back to just Gmail. No, remove the .com entirely. Then the next place you should click on will be the button.
Okay.
Yes. Let me see what will happen. Okay, got it. But it did not send that error message. Okay, it didn't because it's HTML that stopped it even before the clicking. No wahala. You get what happened now? It's like that required stuff. It caught that this is not a valid email already.
Yeah. And there's required on all of them.
Yeah, so now click the submit form. Now it's a correct something. So it might. You didn't open it up.
I didn't.
You
Try again.
have to be fast.
Very nice. I can turn off my network while I am filling the form.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
I can see you now. It went off for a short while, but the thing still sent successfully.
Yeah.
Wow. Maybe it will have to
I
be
don't have
up
any data
for
now.
longer.
How come you are hearing me?
Myself, I don't know. Send now, let's see. No, don't on it back. Send, let's see.
Does my laptop or what? You won't be hearing me now.
It still went.
Hello? Yes, you're hearing me. What is that?
The message still sent successfully.
And you're still hearing me.
Scary things. Now,
I don't know again.
the network, your laptop is now always connected.
Yes, you hear me. This is funny, yo. How?
I don't know. Okay, anyhow,
For
Sha.
this long,
Yeah, this what?
like for this long, I've done it all since.
Me too. I'm surprised and confused. I don't know what's going on.
No, this shouldn't be.
In any case,
I'll check that.
yeah, Cassie, any issues so far? I know there was some weirdness in the alert, especially. Is it a bit understandable now. Hello, Cassie.
Cassie. Cassie. Hello.
Are you guys done?
Can you imagine? It's until you heard sweet voice you answered. It's okay.
I am now.
So how far now? What are your confusions?
Is it now you're asking me?
Yes, now we've finished. So like we can explain anything at any point.
You can choose all the contents
You knew.
from the
You
beginning.
knew. I don't know where to start. Start
don't
this
know.
Let me go
confusion.
back to the code.
How will I now start to talk?
Okay, let's start. First of all, the first two videos, you don't watch them.
No, I've not watched it.
Okay. That's probably why, sure.
Huh? Well, today's one would have been better because of the alert stuff. But you carried on. I told you I was not understanding. You carried on. Oh man, I left you. I'm not gonna lie to you.
And
He explained it so.
the thing is,
Abi?
as it's finished now, it's easier to understand. It's easier to explain.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so let me
this is our
try.
use ref. Are we still using this use ref?
No, we're not
I
using
should
it. You
remove
can remove it. Have you put a component inside another component before?
Yes.
You have. Okay. So, see this state on line 14. We created a state, alert and set alert, right? So inside it we have message and type. Inside alert, there's message, string, and type. So scroll down a bit to where alert was used down there. Okay. So now somewhere in the return, we've not reached it though. On line 108 you can see alert. So alert is a component from somewhere else. We're calling it and we're passing in that state, alert and set alert. So that means if the state changes, the props that are entering this alert component will change as well. That one no wahala be. Hello, Cassie.
Yeah, I'm here.
No wahala so far now, Shay.
I'm trying. There's one alert props.
Okay, when we created alerts, we passed in a prop called alert props. The alert props takes in two things. It takes in alerts.
Okay, I
and
get
set
that one.
alerts. You get that one. Okay. So now let's go and look at the alert component. We have 10 minutes before Joyce will have to run away. Okay, so this is the alerts component. You see, instead of writing alerts and set alerts up where we wrote props, I prefer to just put them together inside something inside props, so that you can just write like only alert props later on and pass everything inside alert props. Okay, so first of all, look at line 22. Line 22 says if alert.type is null, return nothing. You know this stuff. This is fragment, react.fragment. It's like fragment of so nothing. That's what this is. Just empty HTML. So if the type of the alert is null, return nothing. If you can see from the other place, you notice that alert is always there. The component is always there. There's no conditional ranging on the component. There's no if something then display the component is just there. So this is what makes it to vanish and come back. Alert type. Once alert type is null, the component becomes nothing. So you won't see anything. But if it's not null, that's when you now see all of this. Line 27, whatever. And the line 27 we did fixed positioning. Gave it width, fixed positioning, a special background, all of that. Okay. So now scroll up a bit. So for the background, we said if alert type is error, then the background should be BG red. You know, it's tailwind now. If it is not error, it should be BG green. That one, no wahala there. So line 10, we created a function for the cancel button. Cancel alerts. Once you click the button, it will set alert to nothing. It sets message to nothing, type to null. That one, there is no wahala now. It's just setting state. Right?
Yes.
So now there's a use effect. Have you used use effect before?
No.
Okay. Components. There are 3 ways to use effects. One, you write the use effects without, if you notice on line 20, there is a comma and an array with something inside. So,
Yeah.
but aside from that comma and the array, the only thing inside this use effect brackets is a callback function. You see the arrow function that started on line 14, ended on line 20. So use effects take a callback function, that one has to be there. Then you can now choose to add that other array if you want, depending on the situation. So if you don't add the array, that means there's only the callback function. Then the use effect is going to run every time the component re-renders. The component re-renders if state changes or if any prop changes. So any states inside it changes, any prop inside it changes, the component will re-render. So if you just put only a callback function and use effects, it will run every time any small change happens on the component. Okay? So the next way to use it is to add a dependency array. That's that array you see there, but there will be nothing inside. That way, the use effect will run only at the beginning. The first time the component is loaded, the use effect will run. That's it.
Sorry, the component you're referring to is the contact section, right?
It's alerts, because this use
Alerts,
effect is
okay.
inside alerts. But if you now add something inside that array is called a dependency array. So normally you put whatever prop or state that you want, the use effect to depend on. So if any of those props or states inside that array changes, the use effect will run. But if something that is not in that array changes, for example, if maybe alert.message changes but alert type does not change, this use effect will not run. It only cares about alert.type because it's only alert.type we wrote inside. Yeah. So that's really that about that. So one last test before we go. So far, when the alert comes up, we normally wait for it to go. So try and make the alert come up,
Then close.
then close it quickly. Let's see whether that works. So just make one of the things an error so that it will stay there. Awesome. So once you click on it, it sets alert to empty string and type to null. And once type is null, the alert returns nothing, so it will vanish. Okay. So I think the alert should be kind of clear.
That's the handle cancel. Sets the message to not from type to null. And here we are saying if type is null, return nothing.
Yes. Okay, so I forgot to post the video yesterday on YouTube.
Yes, it.
Yeah, so I'll try and remember. So anyhow, at least Cassie, you see all the 4 videos. They should all be there today. So at least for now, you don't finish. So hopefully,
Finish
maybe,
a bit.
not like everything, but this contact section
Section.
was like a little bit technical, so we had to do mix for it. But at least, hey, remember that time, Cassie? Remember that time you were asking me about making requests using fetch and stuff? You will find it in here. The one we did is a post request, not a get. But if you understand post, you can understand get, because the difference between post and get is just that the fact that you're not sending something. So you probably will not even need to add headers. It will just be fetch and the link, and that's it. Then you can now try to await a response and stuff like that. So
Okay.
inside these 4 videos, you should have the
Please,
answer to that.
please, wait. Do you know about anything about recapture?
Recapture? No, I don't know.
Yeah.
I've not. Maybe there's an API for that. I don't know. I've not worked with it.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. Until next time. Have fun. So Joyce, when will you be able to finish the contact section, the other contact section?
Which
Because
one?
Okay, now. Please, there's something I need to. Okay, you have form validation here, right? Ordinary form validation, right?
Like the normal one that comes.
yes, I did input validation, or we did input validation. If
That's
you
when
look at the handle
Yeah.
change,
handle
Yeah,
okay,
I
we did
need
handle
it
block. We don't. What is here is just email and name, kind of. I know you will probably need password as well, but you won't find that here. You'll find it.
Okay.
You'll find it in one of my repos.
Maybe shall ask when I'm ready for that.
No wahala.
And bye guys. Thank you.
Let's see, wait, hold on. No. That's a you freelancer.
No, I'm not start working.
Just say yes now. If you're not working, you're not a freelancer. If they give you
Yes,
work now,
I'm
you
a
no go.
freelancer.
Why did you say